You know what I'm obsessed with lately? I've always been. But the shut the fuck up over there. The overusage of it really bothers me. I know it's cool and shit. But to use I remember getting I've asked you before, does anybody remember DirectX? It wasn't it was bad. DirectX was bad. DirectX plugins for your audio DAW workstations. Um but one thing they did well, I remember Antares and cheap companies back then, or at least good companies, but for cheap, were selling you pitch modulators and auto tune. And the thing about auto tune is, it's an amazing. It was just overused as fuck. I mean, you can turn it all the way up and it will sound like a goddamn robot. You know that, you've heard that. But also when they go back and they try to restore, or they I've heard, recently I've heard like these Hendrix demos that came out. They auto tuned his guitar just slightly, delicately. You can't tell. It just sounds amazing. You hear the guitar and you're like, wait a minute, that sounds a little too good to be true. But you don't detect any auto tune. It's just gentle, extreme good processing auto tune. They auto tuned his voice, and it just. I heard a couple minutes of these new demos. I'm like, no, no fucking way. I mean, that's not Hendrix. His sound is amazing. But that's what you should do. I've heard it with Beatles shit, Beatles bootlegs where they auto tune McCartney, and McCartney's already good, But Hendrix wasn't much of a singer, but he made it work, and I loved his singing anyway. But when they auto tune Hendrix's guitar and his voice on these demos, it just sounded absolutely fucking amazing. Too good to be true. They did it with McCartney too, and it just was over the top. The notes when he was holding notes for fucking 60 seconds, and the pitch on robot accurate without a you know. But I'm saying these days, imagine if somebody was to market me, even at my age, because hip hop and rock and roll embraces any ages. It's not like it used to be. You could be any age. We all know that. But just imagine if they marketed me as a hip hop guy. I would write my own rhymes with somebody else, somebody really good, who wanted to throw me some bones, and then I'd get a couple singles, okay, and I'd work with other female artists. I'd work with Ariana. I'd bring her back up. She'd bring me all out of the whatever. Imagine a scenario, and then they find out that, and then they market me like Kanye, like a fucking genius, and they're like, he's not. He's a hip hop artist, but he can play everything. And then they start filming me playing bass and guitar and singing and then playing drums. They'll be like, this guy is a fucking genius. That's what they did with Elvis. That's what they did with a lot of people. You thought he was just a white boy from the sticks, but all the powers that be got together and used their collective brain power, and it would blow your mind because you'd see me as just another at the, and I wouldn't be like the next guy. I would have flavor, and you can imagine, I'm sure, to some degree of how I would do it. And finally, just pull the rug, pull the rug off it and pull the veil off it, and you'd see me there playing rock and roll with the best of them. They'd be like, "That dude, that's how you would market me." If I was to come out of the gate as a music guy, it wouldn't mean much, you know. The state of music is currently still is, if you can call it that, hip hop, but there's no other name for it at present, and that's what it would be. And all the other hip hop guys would be furious. They'd be like, "What the fuck?" And it'd be like, you can't say I'm detracting from the genre. I'm giving back to it. I'm giving it props and credentials and creed. Don't tell anybody, but that's exactly how you should market me. And don't even tell anybody my age or whatever. Not that it matters. All you got to do is look. I don't fucking care. I'll put fake tattoos on. Do whatever I got to do. But that's how you do it. And then they'd be like, well, if Kanye was a genius, this guy, every now and again they call somebody a genius. They'll be like, he must be the Brian Wilson of the modern day. And then I can just slip back like a snake going down a snake hole back into Mila Pussy and just, totally disintegrate into the ether with drugs and make people a lot of money. You make a shit ton of money. They'd be like, "This dude is Mr. Music." That's how you do it. And don't dare on your life tell me to shut up. That's the last thing you want.